That's the exact market that like I'm kind of like targeting, where there are people who still need to create like a financial blanket in order to kind of get them to that next step. And I think some people are just unaware at times of like some of the opportunities or ways in which they could make that a reality. And that's actually one of the things that I wanted to kind of bring more to light with too, is just kind of some of the little maths behind that, comparing like say rentals to what you would spend in the same way if you just did a mortgage loan, looking at that difference so you could like better understand, well, why don't I take that step now? I'm doing the same expenses by maybe 200 less, but I'm actually building equity this way. So making those small awarenesses to people, I think, is fruitful for everybody. And then also getting into, if once I get into that first time home buyer situation, what loans work for me, what advantages can I take of, because that's also where you get some of the advantage of a first time home buyer, like the certain down payment percentages that you otherwise would. Some people are trying to wait to get 15%, 20% for a down payment, but they don't realize that they have the opportunity to only put down 5%, and then they're actually in a way better spot than they were if they just kind of just did the research, did the math, and actually kind of weigh the options.
Dude, yeah, I feel like I can kind of touch on both of those questions, if you will. The 5% down versus 20% down, as well as the advantages of homeownership versus renting, with like one scenario. So I had a guy recently go under contract, actually, young dude, so he's 24 years old. He doesn't even have 2 full years of work history, but he works in marketing, and his college degree was in marketing. And so banks will see that as work history. They see that as because of the continuation from studying in marketing to working in marketing, it's the same field. They see that as work history. So he had the 2 years work history. He's been, keeping his credit card utilization low. He has some money saved up for a down payment. And he was like, hey, should I rent or buy? So I did the math for him, and we looked at 2 units. So the house hacking situation, especially for him, since he's kind of looking for a bachelor pad, if you will, he could pay $1,400 to $2,000 in rent near where he works, or he could take out a mortgage that the payment at the end of the day would have been about $2,900, so $2,900. He was going to rent out one of the units. It was a duplex for $1,400. So right away, you're down to $1,500. And then he was going to get a flatmate. He was actually going to live with one of his coworkers. So he's the only one on the title. He's the one paying the mortgage, but he's getting $1,400 in rent for one unit, and it would have been $700 to $800 for a flatmate. So now he's paying $700 to $800, like out of his pocket to the mortgage, versus $1,400 on the low end for renting, and he's building equity. Obviously, he's responsible for all the things as far as like, home ownership goes. Like, he's the one that's got to mow the lawn. He's the one that's got to fix the roof. If, sink goes out upstairs, like, he's responsible for getting somebody on the phone to go fix that thing. And so I was kind of showing him that option as well. And then going over stuff, he was like, hey, what's this mortgage insurance thing? If you have less than 20% equity in a house, the bank is more often than not going to charge you mortgage insurance. The private mortgage insurance, if it's a conventional loan, or just mortgage insurance if it's an FHA loan. Basically what that means is the bank is going to charge you to insure the mortgage because you don't have enough skin in the game, right?
Yeah.
So you could either pay $150 a month in mortgage insurance, or wait until you have 20% down payment saved up. The problem with waiting until you have 20% down payment saved up, if that takes you a couple of years, the home price is going to go up enough that you're paying more than $150 a month. Had you just bought beforehand, you could have been building equity. Okay, you're paying a little bit of MI that way, but in my friend's case, it would have been kind of a wash with what he's collecting in rent. So rent versus own, depending on how you do it, owning can actually be a lot less money out of your pocket in the grand scheme of things. And you don't really need to save up 20% for a down payment. If you have it, right, and you can kind of have more options that way. You could get some sort of investment property. You could, obviously scratch the MI if you're putting 20% down. But if you have a smaller chunk of change to put down for a house, like it's a pretty tried and true way of building some wealth.